Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
New Drizzy.
Look, I could never be nobody number one fan. The first number one, I had to put it in your hand.
What?
You pussies can't get booked inside America for nan. I'm out in Tokyo because I'm big in
Japan.
I'm the hit maker, y'all depend on. Tough on record in my city, it was friend zone. You won't never take no chain off of us. How the fuck you bitch stepping with a size?
No Drake. If you know, you know. This is what we've been waiting for.
Your last one brick, you really not on shit. They make excuses for you cause they hate to see me lit. Pull your contract cause we gotta see the split. Hey, the way you doing splits, bitch, your pants might rip. You better do that motherfucking show inside the bitty. Maroon 5 need a verse, you better make it witty. Then we need a verse for the Swifties. Time say drop, you better drop and give them
50.
Pip squeak pipe down, you ain't in no big three. Scissor got you white down, Travis got you white down.
Savage got you white down.
Like your label boy, you in a scope right now. And you gon' feel the aftermath of what I write down. I'm at the top of the mountain, so you tight now. Just to have this talk with your ass, I had to hike down. Big difference between Mike then and Mike now. What the fuck is this, a 20v1, nigga? What's a prince to a king? He
A son, nigga.
I get more love in the city that you from, nigga. So shut your whole ass up and make some drums, nigga. Yeah, I'm the sixth god, I'm the front runner. Y'all nigga manage your...
Welcome
Welcome. Hey.
to the Uncommon Sense podcast for now with Shantae and Tristan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome.
She doesn't want to go by Tay anymore.
No,
It was Tay and Tristan. Now it's Shantae and Tristan.
that is correct.
I like Tay better, but it's okay.
Well, yeah. I went by Tay whenever I was in high school. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I thought about that and I was like, man, I just want to go by my full name.
I don't know either way.
Oh, you don't have to understand why. I know why. That's what's important.
No, it's okay.
But yeah,
It's okay.
It's on our YouTube channel. It says Shantae and Tristan. It says Uncommon Sense with Shantae and Tristan.
Yeah.
I think that's how it is on Spotify as well.
Yeah, it's fine. That's perfect.
Yeah. So like Tristan said, it's Uncommon Sense
For now.
for now. So
Because there's too many Uncommon Sense podcasts out there.
the title.
Uncommon Sense shows, whatever.
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to be changing the name.
Eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably within, what do you say? Like,
Whenever we can think of one.
yeah. Yes.
It's hard. It's hard to come up with a name.
Yes, it is. It really is. But we'll let all of you know in plenty of time when that change is coming.
Yeah.
So, but for now, yes. It's
We'll see.
still Uncommon Sense.
We'll see what happens. Anyway, that track I played at the beginning of the podcast, if you're a hip-hop fan, you should know this. The Kendrick diss has finally come. It's called Drop and Give Me 50. And this is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for 3 weeks. The Kendrick got on Future's song and dissed Drake and, whatever. They had a whole album dissing him, which is crazy. So we've been waiting for Drake to respond. And he finally did. But a lot of people are kind of, people like to hate on Drake for whatever reason. Just because he's Drake, I guess. I don't know. But he finally responded, and it's fire.
It is really good.
Yeah.
I just like the beat. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this beef. I don't know anything. I don't know.
It's a really big thing that's happening right now. You need to be tuned in with your culture. With hip-hop culture.
Well, I mean, I try to.
No, you don't.
I don't know. Well, this is the whole point of like the podcast. It's a generational thing. Like I was really tuned in with the, Tupac and Biggie, East Coast versus West Coast.
30 years ago.
Exactly. I'm 46
You
years
weren't even
old.
from the West or East Coast.
From the Midwest.
You're from the
honey. Very true. So no, I'm not. You're right. I probably do need to be a little bit more in tune with that. Yeah. I'll definitely, because you just mentioned it, I'll definitely do my research.
No, you won't. It's okay. It's okay if you don't want to. You don't have to lie for the podcast.
I'm not lying for the podcast. I'll definitely, because I do like the song. Like I was vibing with it. I probably danced like an old lady. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Did I embarrass you?
No, not at all. Not at all. All I'm saying is it's a very exciting time to be a hip hop fan, and you would understand that if you were actually a hip hop fan.
Are you saying like I was never a hip hop fan?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're not tuned in right now. Is all I'm saying.
No, because I've been living life and taking care of you.
What?
for the last 20 years.
But that has nothing to do with it. Doesn't mean you can't listen to hip hop music or understand what's going on.
It's okay. I got bogged down with life.
It's okay. A lot of women aren't that interested in the beef and stuff like that. You know.
No, I'm really not.
Yeah, but the song's definitely going to play at the strip club. They're not good. They don't care about the words.
How do you know?
Because I know, because the Kendrick Lamar it's called Like That, featuring Kendrick Lamar. That's been played everywhere at all the clubs. You see a lot of booty shaking to that. And they don't know what the hell they're talking about in the song. So
okay, I'm just gonna take your word for it. That's what's gonna be happening in the strip clubs and clubs all over the United States
and abroad.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
So, the first thing we wanted to talk about was OJ Simpson.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, rest in peace to the Juice. You are missed. Your presence, your energy, is very much missed, and we appreciated you while you were here.
Yes, gave a lot of headlines while you were here, particularly in 1994, and 95.
What do you remember about that time? Like, I know, obviously I wasn't alive yet, but obviously it was a big deal.
Yeah, it was huge. Like, I remember it was, I was a junior in high school. Mm-hmm. Whenever that trial was going on and when all that happened. And I remember it was the longest freaking trial. I was like, I just remember like bits and pieces of it. I mean, it was over 30 years ago, but
I think it's exactly
30 years ago. Was like the first, I believe, televised like trial.
Yeah.
Or one
was
of
it the first one?
I don't know if it was the very.
I'm pretty sure it was the most popular.
It was the most popular. It wasn't the very first televised trial. I think the very first televised trial was like of the school teacher who had an affair. I think it was the school teacher who had an affair with a student and had her husband killed or something like that. Mm-hmm. That was like the very first televised trial. But his was like the trial of the century. Yeah. That's what has always been coined. But what I remember probably like the most vivid was like the little quips that Johnny Cochran would say, like with the glove, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
I know. I just saw a video of that earlier. He just repeated it.
If it doesn't fit,
you must have quit.
And it was just like, wow. Okay. I mean, he had what they called the dream team of lawyers. Yeah. He had, Robert Kardashian. He had Johnny Cochran, Robert Shapiro, F. Lee Bailey. I mean, you have all these big names, and it was everybody. I think really believed and knew he did it.
Mm-hmm. Did you believe he did it?
Like at that time, I don't know. I think I'm sure a lot of people in the Black community were like, I really hope he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because you already have this stigma of African American males that surrounds them, that they are violent, that they're criminals, that, and I mean, it's just the stereotype and the stigma that surrounds them. So whenever you have an African American male that is successful, has reached these extraordinary heights at the time where a lot of African Americans didn't have, they just, they didn't have big careers like OJ had. And then for him to, be labeled as an abuser and a murderer. Yeah, there were yeah, me being a black woman, I did not want him to be guilty.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, I remember watching the trial, and I remember where I was whenever the verdict came in, just like everybody remembers where they were when Kennedy got shot.
Yeah.
People remember where they were whenever the Challenger spacecraft exploded. I mean, these big times in history, people always remember where they were. So I remember being at home with Mom. I probably was skipping school. That's my junior year in high school. I probably skipped that day.
I would never.
I'm okay. We're gonna get to that later, but yeah, I remember actually I remember watching on television. People had watch parties of the verdict when people knew that the verdict was coming in. Yeah, it was almost kind of like a racial divide. Like people would stop what they were doing if people were outside, like if they were out shopping, and that's whenever they had, people were watching televisions in the store, and they would broadcast the trial, and the stores and things on the televisions, and I remember when they said not guilty, and I mean, you saw every black person was like, yes, yeah, all right, he's not. Go back and watch like YouTube videos of it. And I mean, I think African Americans saw it as a victory. Yeah. And then there was just like other people were like, I can't believe they found him not guilty.
Right.
If you go back and you watch the video and the look on OJ's face, and it's kind of like after all these years later, you go back and you look and you're like, was he sitting there thinking like, yes, I'm innocent. I know I didn't do it. Or is he thinking, I can't believe I got away with that? I mean, I don't know. It was just a time where...
Wasn't that was around the time of the Rodney King incident?
I think so, yeah.
Was that before? That must have been before. Because I've heard people saying that, like, they wanted revenge for that. Or was that later? I don't even know.
I think it was...
Or that people wanted, some...
That's what I was supposed to look that up before we started doing this podcast.
I can look it up.
Because I think it might have been around the same time. Because they came out with the verdict, the OJ verdict in 1995.
Yeah.
Rodney King might have been around.
It was in 92.
Yeah.
The Rodney King.
Yeah. So, and the fact that there was not justice really for Rodney King, I think was just that video. It was just crazy, and then you had the LA riots, and I just don't think that they wanted a lot of people to go back through that. LA did not want to have the riots like they had before.
Yeah.
If there was a guilty verdict for OJ, because he represented, I think, what a lot of African Americans strived to want to achieve. Mm-hmm. For a lot of young African American boys. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, he was just like that epitome at that time. Yeah. And it's definitely sad. I think what's really hard is that, there are two people that did lose their life, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. So, yeah. I mean, rest in peace to them as well. It's not,
Yeah.
Because they did lose their lives, and it's not fair.
I've heard a lot of people saying people think that it was his son that did it.
I heard that too.
I don't know anything about it. I'm just talking. I've heard people say that there's evidence that could point to him.
It could be his son. And then, I heard that, like, it could have been his son, and then, like, OJ was trying to cover up for him, but...
Or that it could have been somebody, like, he had somebody do it.
And I'll tell you what turned the case was whenever Mark Furman, the cop, who, they said was racist. I don't want to start, like, a race thing on here, but that, the cops trampled over the scene. Okay. And then like they had the whole thing with the planted glove and then you have the glove where it didn't fit. And then they're like, well, he had gloves on. He had like the latex gloves, and then you're trying to put a leather glove. Of course it's not going to fit.
Well,
I mean, come on. It's not going to fit.
It was kind of funny watching it, seeing the videos of him holding his hands up, and the gloves are clearly on. They're on his hands. It's not like it's like busting through.
No.
And I saw, I think it was on TikTok or something. Somebody was talking about it, and they showed this guy was like, how could okay, they said the gloves didn't fit on his hand, but there's video of him doing like news coverage wearing the same gloves.
But were they
Before.
the same gloves?
That's what I was. They probably could have not been, or they could have been, but they looked like the same gloves.
Yeah, but I don't.
I know that's not like,
I don't know. I mean, you don't. There was the they had the different like mini series on Netflix with Courtney B. Vance and Cuba Gooding Jr. That played OJ, and they
Cuba Gooding Jr. played OJ.
yes
There's no way.
he did. It was on Netflix. It was like a mini series, and it went through the whole. I cannot remember the name of it.
No, yeah, I remember. I never watched it. I remember seeing it like scrolling by, but I never.
Yeah, it's
Cuba Gooding Jr. played him. Radio played him.
yes, yes. Radio played him.
That's crazy.
Yes. He actually did a really good job. Yeah.
I could never imagine him playing OJ Simpson.
He did. Yeah.
That's crazy.
As he's going through like the whole thing, and then they actually did. I was looking up on YouTube last night. They actually CNN interviewed Kato Kaelin, and Kato Kaelin is, of course, the most infamous house guest ever in the world because he was OJ's house guest.
Oh, it's a man.
Yes, and I believe he's a man, and he lived in OJ's guest house.
Oh,
Around this time of the murders, and so he and this is 30 years later, and so he I don't know, and he testified, but he became like it's got to be so weird to become. You move out to California to become like this, to become an actor and to seek fame and all that. And then this is what you become famous for.
Yeah.
And
He's got his wish. He did become famous.
You're like completely handcuffed to this legacy that's not, you know, the best. I mean, it's just crazy. It's almost kind of like you're handcuffed to OJ for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
In a way. By association.
So today, at this very moment, do you believe that he did it 100% or not? Or you don't know?
You're really going to put me on the spot like that?
I'm just a question. I'm just asking what do you think at this very moment? The man's dead, Mom. Well, what do you think happened?
I know he's dead.
What is your personal? Do you personally think he did it?
Do I think OJ did it?
Yeah.
I don't know. They never. I don't know. They never found like anybody else that ever like. There were never any other suspects. Ever.
Not that we know of.
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
Do I think it's possible somebody could have framed him? Sure.
So you're kind of on the fence.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. I do believe he abused her. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do believe that. Do I believe he's capable of murdering her? I don't know.
A lot of people are saying he could have had CTE.
I don't know.
Which I guess now we might.
Yeah,
find out
that's
for
that's very true. That's very true. He could have. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Chris Benoit. I mean, he went. I mean, he was like a nice guy, but he freaking went off and murdered his family and killed himself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and then Aaron Hernandez. You know the Aaron Hernandez.
Yes. Yeah. It's absolutely possible, yeah. And I mean, what kind of leads me more leaning towards the fact that he did it is that he wrote a book that said, "If I did it."
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up.
That's kind of like, because it's almost like double jeopardy. So like you cannot, if you've been, tried in a court of law, you cannot, and you've been convicted, and then you've been like actually proven like not guilty by reasonable doubt, whatever it is. They created enough reasonable doubt that he was found not guilty.
Yeah.
So So yeah, I mean, he's yeah, he couldn't be tried for it again.
Can you pick that book up anywhere?
So
Is that for sale?
what
If I did it.
if I did it?
Yeah, I kind of want to read it.
Yeah, you probably can.
Oh, it's on Audible.
Yeah, if you can. Oh my gosh, I put my finger on my coffee.
Jesus Christ.
It's okay.
You know what happened with that book? I guess the family of, I don't know the people's names.
Ron Goldman and the Nicole Brown.
Yeah, I guess one of their
Browns.
families bought the rights or something, or
Yes.
bought,
Yeah.
and they changed it, the title, or like the cover, because before it was If I Did It,
Yeah.
but it still is If I Did It, except you can barely see the if. It just says I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they're still trying to collect on the 33, I think it's $33.5 million civil suit that they filed against him after he was found not guilty of murder.
Yeah.
And they found that court in LA County actually found him liable for their deaths.
Yeah,
So
they had to get him somehow. So.
yeah. So I mean, if I did it, if you're wanting to move past and not even have scrutiny, like if I'm like, yeah, I'm not guilty of murdering somebody, I'm not gonna go and write a book saying, if I did it, this is how I would do it. I'm like, I would want to completely move away. And I've cleared my name and I want to go on and I want to live my life.
Maybe he just needed some extra money.
I mean, he
It's
was
a very sensationalized thing that's going to make money.
Absolutely. But then he ended up going to prison in Las Vegas in Nevada for, they said robbery, but he was trying to get back all of the stuff that people stole from him.
Yeah.
While he was going through the trial or whatever.
That was messed up.
Yeah. So I think that was actually a setup. I really do think somebody set him up for that. I really do.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But they probably were like, yeah, man, we can go here and get your stuff. And then they ended up,
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? You
Well,
never
what
know.
do you-
You never know what people are capable of doing. You just don't know.
What do you think of people saying good riddance to his death?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the comments.
A famous one, what's her name? Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, Caitlyn
on
Jenner
Good
was just
riddance
like
or
good
something?
riddance. Yeah, and they say that because Kris Jenner was best friends with Nicole Brown Simpson. So I think whenever you're best friends with and like your friend gets murdered, I mean, whenever she was killed, I mean, she was practically decapitated.
Yeah.
So it was
Wait, but who was Robert Kardashian married to?
Kris
Was it Kris?
Jenner.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a crazy situation.
yeah. That's how
your husband
Yeah.
is defending the guy.
But at the time that Robert Kardashian was defending her, Kris Jenner was divorced from Robert
But
Kardashian.
still.
But they
What if it was a way to get back at his ex-wife? Like, yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, he killed her, and I know it, but I'm gonna defend him. Take
and
that,
I think
Kris.
that Robert Kardashian did kind of believe. If you watch the mini series that was on Netflix, if you watch that, you they portray it as like Robert Kardashian did, kind of figure out that OJ was guilty of it.
Yeah.
But he was still getting paid money, and but that was his friend. They had been friends for years. But yeah, I think you can feel how you want to feel. I think people can feel how they want to feel about OJ and what happened and what he did 30 years ago. And,
Yeah.
We never know how if that individual had a relationship with God and asked for forgiveness or whatever. We just don't know that. Okay. So the fact that we don't know what OJ's life, Christian, if he was a Christian or what that life was like, we just don't know.
Yeah.
After all these years. But I think it's disrespectful. This is just my opinion. I think it's disrespectful to the family to be like good riddance and people saying, I hope you burn in hell and things like that, because
Yeah.
it's still, I mean, regardless, I mean, he still has a family.
Yeah.
And there's still people that
That loved him.
that loved him, and he still has kids and probably grandkids that loved him and know him in a different light than we perceive him.
Yeah.
All we know is what has been sensationalized about him. That's what we know about him. We don't know him. And I think people lose sight of that. And I'm just saying, I'm not the biggest Caitlyn Jenner fan anyway, but I think that, I mean, I just, I think that's just coming from a place of maybe they were closer to it than we are.
Yeah, well, yeah,
than we've ever been. But, so I'm sure that there's a little bit deeper connection and reason why, but
yeah,
for sure. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I think you should be thinking about his extended family and not just how you feel about him, because they see those comments.
yeah.
And I don't think people think that far.
Yeah, you can feel however you want to feel about it, but to put it on a public platform and say something like that,
Yeah.
it is kind of messed up.
Yeah. Because I don't think he would want his grandkids, or I don't think he would want his grandkids or other kids to see people talk about him being transgender or used to be a man and how they feel about that.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah. But she's been bullied a ton, obviously. Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, you know what's funny?
Not really.
But you know what's
But,
funny
you know.
is that she actually kill someone and was proven to have killed someone.
Yes, I know. In a car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that
But it's amazing, though, because then they're like, oh, well, then let's give her the ESPY award.
Yeah. Woman of the Year.
Woman of the Year at the ESPY Awards. But wait a minute, didn't you kill someone?
Yeah.
So, I
Nobody
mean,
ever brings that up.
yeah, so I mean, the same thing can be said for that. So a little bit of his double standard.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. It's amazing how that's a very good point, because she actually did kill someone.
Yeah. Nobody ever brings that up.
Well, of course not. But let's talk about what happened 30 years ago. And this man who had cancer and died. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about him and how he's still a whatever. And then going to talk about good riddance. Hope you burn in hell. You know, I mean, that's just not. And he still was, you know, living his life and doing whatever.
Yeah.
But I get it. I mean, you can see, like, I'm sorry for the families that lost people, you know, but it's just, you can have your thoughts and feelings, but you don't have to say those things.
Yeah.
On that. His family sees that. And they're still grieving him.
Yeah, of
They're
course.
still grieving him, you know.
Of course.
And they had been. And the fact of the matter is like, he's, you know, he died at home surrounded by his family.
Yeah. I thought he was in hospice.
He died at home. From what I read, I think he was at home.
Well, I think he was in hospice before.
Yeah.
For like a few months.
Yeah. And the thing is, I didn't even know OJ had cancer. So
I don't think
I didn't keep up with anything OJ.
Well, no, nobody knew. Well, people would ask, like, online, like, if he had health issues or something. He never said
that
anything.
he was.
None of his
No.
family ever said anything.
Mm-mm. I didn't know. I didn't. I mean, it's kind of like you go past like that, you know, what happened 30 years ago. And he went to jail for the robbery thing in Nevada, and then he got out, and people were pissed because they paroled him. And then like, oh my gosh, he's going to go and live his life and live off his NFL pension. Yeah. I mean, he did. I mean, he deserves his NFL pension, regardless of how people felt about him.
He's a great running back.
Yeah,
I've seen the highlights.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
He still deserved his NFL pension.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just amazes me how there's this, you know.
Yeah.
There's the racial thing as well. That's what a lot of it comes down to.
And I'm gonna miss the OJ Twitter videos. Hey, Twitter world.
I know.
He would start every video.
Hey, Twitter world. Yes,
He would
but
go, hey, Twitter world.
he was really good at what he did. It's unfortunate that he won't be remembered for how great of a football player he was. And
Yeah, nobody.
tarnished.
Even
by
the
that.
people on ESPN that were breaking the news, like, they weren't very nice about it
No,
at all.
no, because of what happened. Because of the murder trial.
Yeah.
They want the murder. That's what they'll always be.
Yeah.
remembered for. And I mean, it's just, but I think it's how I think it, what it's going to be really important is just that, the bottom line is that I think he was around his family and the people that loved and cared about him the most. And,
Yeah.
And it's probably where he needed to be
Mm-hmm.
towards the end, regardless of how other people felt about him.
Yeah.
I think it's,
I want to ask you this. If
Yeah.
I murdered someone,
oh my God.
would you turn me in immediately? Or would you help me cover it up?
Oh my gosh, Tristan, why are you asking me these
Because it's an
horrible
interesting
questions?
Because it's an interesting topic. You know, obviously I don't have kids, but you're my mom.
Yeah.
If you murdered somebody,
If
would
I
be-
murdered someone, what would you turn me in?
it would be hard. I'm asking you.
You've already asked me a
you
question.
didn't
I've been
answer.
talking this whole time.
Oh my God.
Would you turn me in if I murdered someone?
Obviously, I can't know for sure 100%, but I know it would be difficult because you're my mom. I wouldn't want you to go to prison.
You wouldn't hide me?
So you would want... I don't know.
I gave you life. I gave birth to you. You wouldn't hide me?
I'm just saying it would be a very difficult decision to make.
I'll tell you what. So like I'm okay, as a mother and you killed somebody.
Yeah.
Like what was it situation? Like would it be self-defense?
Oh my God, you got to bring all these factors into just you don't know anything about it. I come home, I got blood on me. I'm like, Mom, I just killed somebody. We got to hide this body. You don't know any other details. What is your first instinct?
We're going to go hide the body.
Really?
Yes.
Really? I don't believe you.
Look in my face. We're going to go hide the body.
I don't believe you.
Yes.
I think you'd call the cops.
I would not. And you know why?
Why?
Because the way the jails and the prison systems are, I would not want you there. I know how you are, and I know your heart and everything. No, I would not want you there.
But I murdered somebody.
I know that. Well, we would go and get you professional counseling.
Counseling?
Yeah.
So
You're not a murderer. I know you. You're not a murderer. So if you killed somebody, there's a reason why you had to do it.
well, what if it was like a dumb reason, like they tripped me or something, and I got mad and just killed them?
And I would sit down and counsel you.
No, you wouldn't. You're lying.
Then I would be like, okay, what happened? And then we would bury the body. I would get the facts first. I could not turn you in. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do that.
Because that's like one of the worst crimes. I could have started at robbery, but I went straight to murder, and you would still hide the body.
I don't know if I could turn you in. I don't know if I could do that. Because then I would have to live with my decision either way. So it's like, do I keep you here and just go hide the body and we cover it up? Or do I, spend the rest of my life visiting you in prison and watching you get and praying every night, hoping you're not.
Watching me get what? What are you trying to say? Watching me get what? What am I getting in prison?
Not watching you get, but praying you're not getting violated and raped in prison. Not watching you get raped, but hoping you're not. You know what I meant. You know what I meant. Hoping you're not getting raped in prison.
Oh my God.
Those are the two choices. It's like I wouldn't.
Why are you so sure that I would get raped?
I'm not, but that happens. It's just the reality of it.
I don't know. I think if I murdered someone, I could handle myself.
Yeah, you would have to, but would you want me to turn you in? Would you say no? I have
obviously not. Obviously, in my
then.
position, I wouldn't want you to turn me
Well,
in.
this is a stupid.
I'm saying
question.
how? I'm saying a lot of parents would.
Would you do that? Would you? So I am not a good parent if I would not turn you in.
It is a morally gray situation or a morally gray
I
decision.
don't think I would turn you in. No.
Either way.
I don't think I could. I just don't think I could. I just don't think I could. I could do it. Like you know my heart. Like you know my heart, and you know how I am. And I just don't think I could do it. I would just be bawling my eyes out, crying.
I think you're saying that now. I think if
I couldn't.
if you came home and saw there was a head in the sink.
Oh my god, that's drastic.
No,
though.
it's a real. Listen,
I would be
so
terrified. No, I would be terrified if there's a head in the sink. I would be like, okay. I would be probably scared of you because then I would be like, what's wrong? Like,
Yeah, then you would
you
would turn me in for sure. Then, right?
I don't know. You're changing the story.
No, listen.
to where I'm having to change my answer. That's what you're doing.
This is why I say that, because this is a real situation that happened a few years ago. I don't remember where it was.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can.
But
do
there's this YouTube channel called Explore With Us, where it's just like they put out, it's not a video essay, but like they break down, like it's mostly murder cases. Sometimes it's like pedophilia cases or whatever, and they show the body cam footage and the interrogation footage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there's this one where there's this kid. He was a 19-year-old kid, and I don't remember exactly what happened. Like he wrecked his car or something, like at a boat dock or whatever. And they went to get his car, and they saw that there was blood on his car. And they're like, oh, no, I don't know what that is. So they just thought, oh, maybe it's just fake blood because he's into special effects or whatever. And so they just let it go. They got his car out, whatever. And then I guess that night they went home, and the kid's mom found a human head and hands in the sink. And she called the police, and I don't know. I think she found it that night, but they didn't get there till the next morning for some reason. I think, I don't know. But yeah,
They just let it sit there all night.
I don't remember. I might be screwing the details up. I think I am. But I just remember the main footage. Oh no, the nighttime footage was from when they were getting the car out of the water or whatever, or wherever he wrecked his car.
I don't know.
The next morning, the parents called the police,
I don't know. I just,
which most people would. Even if they're your parents, they would.
and I think too, like if and they probably wouldn't keep them in prison. They probably would have to do a psychiatric evaluation.
No, I'm pretty sure he
probably end up in a mental institution because there's a difference between if you just shoot and kill somebody, and then if you start dismembering body parts and things like that. I mean, there's people that do that and they end up just in prison the rest of their life. But if you're doing that in your younger age, there's something seriously wrong. Like,
you know what?
I just don't know. I don't know. If I did that, so like if I just came in one day and I just, if I did that, what would you do with me? Would you turn me in?
I don't know.
See, it's a hard question.
I'd probably just run away.
No, no, you can't leave me hanging. You have to answer the question. I answered the question. You have to answer the question.
Oh my God.
Would you turn me in, or would you help me bury a body?
I don't think you would ask me to help you bury a body. That's the thing. I think you'd want me to turn you in. Because then if I'm complicit, then I'm going to prison too, and you wouldn't want me to go to prison.
Yeah.
But if you were crazy enough, you wouldn't even care about that. If you were crazy enough to do that, you might not even care about that.
True. Yeah.
So it's a weird question. I don't know. There's a lot of factors.
But what if somebody came into the house and I had to shoot them and unload on them because they broke in? I killed an intruder.
Oh, well, that's different. Then we would just sit there and call the police and wait for the police to get here.
But the way that the police system is now...
No, but it's different. Florida is a stand your ground state.
Yeah, so we live in Florida.
That kind of thing.
We live in Florida.
You would be in the clear unless it's like a racist cop or something, and you're black.
I am black.
And you have a gun. They might, But obviously that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I think you'd be fine if that happened in this state.
I don't know. I would still be scared.
If that happened in New York or California, it'd be a different story. You'd probably go to prison. Even if it was self-defense.
Yeah, which I think is crazy. That's why our legal system's all screwed up.
Yeah.
It really is. So I don't know. Maybe I'm going to put that in our Q&A poll.
Speaking of dismembering bodies.
No, no, we're not going to talk about this. Not on this podcast. No,
We're already in the already in the weeds.
Gosh, that's so nasty.
I just wanted to talk about this one thing that happened. It was another guy that dismembered somebody. So you know who Joe Rogan is, obviously.
Of course.
So there's this guy he has on his podcast every few months or every year, whatever. I forget his name, but he basically helps people who are wrongly convicted get out of prison.
Yeah.
And, exonerate them or whatever.
Yes.
And he's brought a few people on that he's freed that did, 20 years, 30 years, and they were found innocent because of this program or whatever.
Yeah.
So recently, I think it was a couple months ago, he brought this one guy on that was convicted, and he was guilty, right? I guess he was a drug dealer, and he, hurt somebody for stealing from him or whatever. And he did like 20 years in prison, right? So he brings this guy on the Joe Rogan Experience to talk about his life story and how he's saving all these kids and whatever. A couple months later, or like just a few weeks ago, I see an article from the New York Post or whatever. It says, Joe Rogan Experience guest found with dismembered body parts in his apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like,
That's
there's
crazy.
no way. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because he seemed like such, I don't know, nice guy. He seemed like he was okay. He didn't seem that crazy.
Well, but didn't I mention this to you? Like sometimes, but that's the thing is crazy people don't know that they're crazy.
No, I think he knew. I think he was just good at hiding it.
No, but they think that they're normal. They think that they're the way that they act is normal to them.
Well, yeah.
They don't recognize that it is abnormal.
Yeah.
They don't recognize the behavior as abnormal.
Yeah.
That's what makes them crazy.
Well, I think that's with a lot of people. The villain
They
thinks...
don't know that they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Oh, my God. I'm just saying, like, the villain doesn't think that they're a villain.
Right. Exactly.
But they think that they're on the good side.
Yes.
To them, they're not doing evil things. They're just...
It's for the greater good in their mind, but actually it's not.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. It's harming people instead of helping them.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I probably am not, I'm not surprised by that story.
Yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you just don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like everybody needs to be really careful nowadays because people are very good at hiding crazy. Mm-hmm. I could be extremely insane right now, and I look completely normal. You wouldn't have no idea.
Well, you already are insane. I
I'm not insane. I'm not.
already know you are.
I'm not. I'm not insane.
That's exactly.
I don't know. That's exactly what they would say. I don't know. Sometimes the way I act around here, you think I get the zoomies.
Yeah, you do. You're like the dog.
I do. I jump around. I'm real hyper, and they kind of look at me like I'm crazy. But
Yeah, and you start screaming and yelling and throwing things.
I don't throw things.
God,
I don't throw things.
so aggressive.
I'm not aggressive.
You're so hostile.
I'm not. You say that to me all the time, Tristan, and that drives me crazy.
Why?
Because you'll do things that you know drive me crazy and are very irritating, and then I'll just tell you and I'll raise my voice just a little bit, and then you're like, why are you so hostile? And whenever you say it in that calm voice, you know it's getting under my skin.
Oh, no, that's not true. I'm just trying to de-escalate the situation.
But it doesn't need to be de-escalated.
But it does. Why doesn't it? See, that's the crazy in you. You want it to escalate.
I don't want it to escalate.
I'm trying to de-escalate.
No. That's just
I'm a
that's just what
peacemaker.
you younger people do.
What?
It's trying to be like, what? This is the look that you the look that you have on your face right now. What? This is how he looks. What? And then he'll have the look. Why are you so hostile?
I do not look like that.
Yes, he does. Why are you so hostile? And it's just like, boy, if you don't get out. But why? What did I do? What did I say? This was exactly what you do. Hey, I put something on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it?
But what on Facebook?
It's just from Instagram, and it's this video that this guy talks about. You know how they have the little shorts and they do their little skits, on there. And he does a skit where he's talking about, I guess the son doesn't go to work or he calls off work.
Yeah.
And it like the point of view is like, mom, when you call off work.
Yeah. I think I did see that.
It's like, what, you didn't have work today? Well, I called off. You just called off work. I said, yes, that is so me talking to you like that. And you're like, that was like and the guy in the video in the background goes, that was like 2 months ago. That is so what Tristan will tell me.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
And it's like, you kids just do not want to work today. And I tell you that.
That's not true. It's not that we don't want to work.
Yeah.
It's that, oh my God, do I want to get into this?
You don't have to. You don't have to talk about your job.
It's just, today we realized that, how do I articulate this?
I'm waiting.
I think Gen Z, we have so much information now, and we know that we can do so many other things. It doesn't seem as like, I'm not saying I personally feel like this, but like it doesn't matter. Like the system is all screwed up anyway. Why am I listening to this person tell me what to do all day? I could just go somewhere else if I wanted to, or do something else. I could do anything if I want to. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it wasn't like that with your generation necessarily.
With the Gen X generation, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Generation X. I was born in 1977.
Oh, I thought you were a boomer.
That's like 1940s and 50s.
Kidding.
What the boy, please.
I'm just kidding.
And see, this is when I be getting hostile. And this one, he's like, what? I'm just kidding. I don't know. Like, yeah, well, we were taught, mom was a single mother and she worked, know. Mom was a single mother and she worked and she raised 5 kids on her own, but we all took care of each other. Like Tracy took care of all of us. And so when we grew up watching mom work, and I mean, mom rarely missed work. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of grew up with that work ethic.
Yeah.
And it's the same work ethic that my grandparents had, and Grandpa had his own painting business, and Grandma stayed home, of course, took care of the kids, grandkids. But yeah, I mean, we just kind of had that work ethic.
Yeah.
By the time it got to me, because I'm the baby of the family, I'm the youngest. So by the time it got to me, I developed a work ethic later in life. Because yeah, I couldn't hold a job to save my life.
Yeah.
Whenever I was your age.
Mm-hmm. I think what I was trying to say is that Gen Z just doesn't see it. It's not as worth it to us, to the generation, just because of where the economy is, how much things cost. Like, it doesn't feel worth it to even work for this person. Like before, you could work at maybe not a minimum wage job, but like an entry-level job, and you could buy a car and buy a house and go on vacation. Yeah. And it's just not like that anymore.
Yeah. Everything is really expensive.
So it doesn't feel as worth it, and that shows in, calling out or slacking at your job or whatever.
So you're not motivated.
No, it's not that. Of course I'm motivated. I'm not speaking for me personally. I'm just saying generally this is how my generation feels, is all I'm saying.
It sounds like a problem with authority.
No, it's not a problem with authority. Like I said, it just doesn't feel as worth it to people. Not everybody's not like that.
What doesn't feel worth it? What doesn't? I'm sorry. I'm not understanding. What doesn't feel worth it?
To work at a regular job and have a boss telling you what to do that you don't like. They stink. They're rubbing your shoulders all day, trying to touch you.
What bosses do that?
No, not to me. Not to me. I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't feel.
If you have a boss rubbing your shoulder, that's
not me. Not me.
That's sexual harassment.
Not me. I'm just saying, people
shouldn't be touching you.
People put up with that a lot more before.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
they
that
shouldn't.
doesn't.
No, you
Things have
shouldn't be.
changed.
No boss should be touching anybody, like that. No,
Yeah.
no. Well, I think it can depend, but I think it can depend on what field of work you're wanting to go into. It can depend on, what you want to do for a living. Like, yeah, of
Yeah.
course you have to, work in these sometimes entry level jobs to get to where you wanted to go. It's just like I wanted you to go to college, but you didn't want to go to college. And it's like, okay, you don't want to go. But then it's like, what, I sometimes think that your generation is a little bit lackadaisical. And you're just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to go do
That's
kind of
not.
just whatever.
That's not necessarily true.
And
There's a lot
you're
of.
very passive. I don't see a lot of not. I won't say the whole entire generation, but I think it. I don't see like. I kind of almost see a sense of entitlement. I think, and I don't blame that completely on the kids because I think we as parents spoiled you guys and gave you a lot of things and sheltered you, but yeah, I don't see a lot of motivation. I see a lot of entitlement.
I don't think that's true at all. Because today, anybody can just make their own way doing something on the internet. You can make money. Anybody can make money with the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
You didn't have
That's
that before. So, because my generation isn't trying to work for corporate America and have a 401k and have a retirement plan. That's how it's always been done. But there's a new way to live now.
Yeah.
Everything has changed. It's a different world.
Yeah, that's.
You know.
I get that. That's true, and I think
So it's not lack of motivation. It's a lack of motivation to work for corporate America. Like my generation would rather do things for themselves.
entrepreneurial
Yeah, I guess so.
in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want to go out in the world and work. You guys want to isolate and work on a computer.
No, that's not necessarily true. Because if you do that, you have the freedom to do whatever you want after that. Mm-hmm. You're not bogged down by having to go to a 9 to 5 every day. If you can make enough money on the internet, do you have?
I'm not in any way knocking working from home because I work from home
Yeah.
on a computer all day. So I'm not in any way knocking it. No, I think it allows, I can see how it could allow for creativity and working, and kind of having that freedom, which, and I mean, it is, and you have the freedom to do that and you're young. It allows for creativity,
Yeah.
right? Is I guess what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you don't have, because there are, I mean, it was always kind of like, and in my generation, it was you go to college, you graduate high school, you go to college.
Yeah, people don't
and
wanna-
you get a career.
Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that anymore. Not everybody. Obviously, a lot of my
People
generation
still.
goes to college, but they're slowly dropping. The rate of people going to college is slowly dropping,
Yeah.
and it has been because there's other ways to do things.
There's
now.
other ways to make money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still in college. Still.
Yeah, you are.
It's because I'm going for a master's degree in social work. It takes a little bit of time.
I actually did want to go to college. Yeah. I actually did want to go to college, but you guys didn't like what I wanted to study. Do you remember that?
Tristan, you wanted to
I wanted to be,
study something to do with hallucinogenics.
yeah, I wanted to be a pharmacologist, specializing in hallucinogenics and theogens,
Yes.
things like that,
Yes.
because it's a very fascinating subject.
I did not want you to be doing hallucinogenics.
I wouldn't be doing hallucinogenics necessarily. I'm just studying them.
No, but you were talking like, I'm going to try this. I was like, that's why you're not studying that.
Well, yeah,
you could have you could have studied pharmacology. I don't care if you would have done that. You could have done that. I never once told you not to do it. I said you don't need to specialize in that. That's what I was telling you.
What if that's what I'm really interested in? I've become sort of a amateur pharmacologist already myself. I do a lot of research because I'm interested in the subject.
In kratom?
No, not with kratom. Just with any mind altering substances. It's a fascinating.
You know how I feel about that, and you know that we'll have like a whole nother topic on that, like a podcast, because we just will. Um, when you've told me I'm really subjective with you told me I'm not open minded about certain things.
I think the
and
way
that bit that comes from me being an addiction counselor.
that's what I'm.
though.
But I don't think it's just that. I think your view on things like that, on psychoactive substances, mind altering substances, is only looked at through your experiences with them, and a lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
They've only had negative. Obviously, maybe not all negative, but I'm saying it might have ruined their life in some way, or it took things away from them, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you're only looking at it through that view, like, oh, these are bad. Like, you shouldn't do psychoactive. You shouldn't do drugs at all. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's. I don't think it should be like that. I think that's a very limiting way to think about it.
Mm-hmm. What do you want me to say?
Nothing.
I respect your opinion on that. I respect your opinion on it. I'm just saying, like, I don't. It's just I didn't try every drug when I was using, but
Yeah.
I didn't. I know. Yeah, nothing good came out of my use. I know that.
Exactly.
I'm glad that I made it out.
Which is why you think about it like that, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But everybody, it doesn't ruin everyone's life.
Yeah, but I know doctors that have utilized microdosing with patients before.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about that, but they have. I think there was like a client I worked with, or that the last place that I worked that, it was in conversation. They had brought it up, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." But we did not go further into it. However, they were doing that, but then they ended up coming to us for treatment because it was not working. So it's not. It's
not going to work
not for everybody.
It's not going to work for 100% of people.
No,
but it has been very beneficial for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I just find like there's, and also I think there's like a lot of other holistic ways to work through things too.
Of course, you don't have to. Nobody's saying that in order to fix this, you have to take psychedelics.
Sometimes it's just life. Sometimes you don't always have to take something sometimes you don't always have to fix everything.
Yeah, that's not always the answer.
It's not. So you don't always have to.
But it can.
Fix it.
It can be part of the answer. It can help you, and it has helped.
There are things that can help, but I think it's just sometimes we have to, sometimes it's just life. Sometimes it's just life.
Yeah,
you just have to work through it the best way you can. I've learned that.